So I turned 27, hooked up to a feeding tube in a hospital fighting for my life.
Today, we're talking with Dane Johnson, founder of Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle and a holistic nutritionist who proves every day that healing from Crohn's and colitis is possible.
How quickly did this all come about?
It was almost like a slow death in a way. Symptoms started at 19 out of nowhere. The doctor said, we don't know why he's dying. We don't know what's wrong. We don't know what else to do for him.
But I kind of want to jump into that root cause first that you kind of thought about.
It's not a root cause, it's root causes. I had to divorce my old self, the old way I got happy. I don't miss a thing about that old life. And I know you can do it too. I will make space for you guys. This is going to be the best thing you ever do.
Let's start with your story. You were on a very, very different path than you are today.
Yes.
Diagnosis, when I think of diagnosis, I think people think it's like a fate, right? That you were fated with at that moment.
Yeah.
It really changed your life. So can you take us back to that turning point that did change your world in 2010?
You know, I was diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease and chronic inflammation anywhere from the mouth all the way down to the rectum. And there are two main forms, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And I went to the doctors because I started getting a lot of pain and I started getting blood in the stool. And at first you think it's something you ate, and I was just a kid, you know, I was
How
a young
old?
kid, 19 when I first started getting symptoms.
Wow.
So I was a sophomore in college. I was living in Charleston, South Carolina. I was going to school, just hanging with the good old boys type thing. And all of a sudden it was like this shameful thing. Like, what's going on? I look down, it's like, is that blood or is that beets or is that cabbage? What is that?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to tell. The only person I told eventually was my mom. Like if something happens to you, you're like,
Mom.
I'm not like, hey man, you guys ever had blood in your stool? Anyone seen
You're at a
that? They're
party.
like, do you need to go to a doctor? So I didn't know what to do with it. So it happened. I was like, you know, then it went away, happened again, went away. And so, you know, I could tell that my family was starting to get nervous because they started looking it up on the internet and we'd never heard of it. No one in my family had inflammatory bowel disease.
Inflammatory.
And I went to a doctor and he said, let's do a colonoscopy. We did it. And all of a sudden it was, you have ulcerative colitis. This is an incurable disease. We have some things we can try to help treat it, like steroids, antibiotics, immunosuppressants, all these medications. And, you know, we'll try to tamper it. And I just remember looking down at the ground thinking, not knowing how to process it. And I think a lot of us out there are here because we've been sick with something, like something happened to us. And now we want to take our power back. And that's why we want to deal with toxins and learn to get happy and healthy at the same time, right? That's our goal.
Right.
And I just remember being overwhelmed with shame.
Yeah.
You know what was the worst thing when I was a kid? Is like, what is ulcerative colitis? It sounds gross. It's a butt problem. I'm not telling anybody that. I mean, that sounds like
You're
young
on a
boy.
first date and you're like, sup chica.
Sup, chica. No, I remember even thinking like shaking, like, I'm never going to be able to be like a dad. Like I'm never going to be accepted for this. Because back then as a young boy, you're trying to be tough. You're trying to be big. You're trying to be strong. You're trying to be.
The conditions of what tell boys, in order to be a man, you have to be like, no vulnerabilities.
Yes.
And like the shame can be really detrimental, I think, mental health wise.
Yeah. And especially growing up in the, Virginia with, as I say that term again, the good old boys. I mean, we were in weight class. I played football. I played basketball. I swam. I lifted weights 6 days a week since I was 14 years old. I always wanted, it's not like there was ego there as a young man. I didn't know yet. I didn't have the maturity as a grown man to understand health. And
your brain was not developed.
It was not. That's what I was trying to say. So there was a lot of anger, resentment, pain, secrecy, until I couldn't hide it anymore. And when you go from 190 pounds at 6'2" down to 122 pounds, unable to walk, having 25 bloody bowel movements a day in severe pain, screaming in a bathroom, scared to leave a house because you don't know where the bathroom is. You don't know if you're going to relieve yourself in your pants.
Oh my God.
As a kid who wanted to be a competitive, who wanted to kind of raise his chin in life.
Yeah.
And just to get your whole world smashed and your ego completely smashed and your dreams smashed. I mean, I was sick for the most of my 20s. And it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And it's why I'm here. And it didn't just kind of happen to me. I had one of the worst cases of Crohn's and colitis. I say both because doctors at Cedars-Sinai said it was ulcerative colitis. Then doctors at UCLA said it was Crohn's disease. And then another doctor said it was ulcerative colitis and just some gastritis, like inflammation in the stomach, but not full Crohn's. They couldn't make up their minds. So eventually I just said, it's Crohn's colitis. And then I didn't just kind of have a little bit of blood. It was like I went on Entyvio, I went on Remicade, I was on prednisone for 4 years, which is a cortisone steroid that can really injure your body and cause tremendous multi-layer problems, bone density issues, skin issues, acne. I was covered in cystic acne at 24 years old.
Hold on. How quickly did this all come about?
It was almost like a slow death in a way. It was symptoms started at 19. I nearly died of Crohn's colitis complications on my 27th birthday. So I turned 27, hooked up to a feeding tube in a hospital fighting for my life.
At 27?
I turned 27, yeah. And so that was the worst it was December. My birthday's November, December of 2014. My dad, my sisters, my mom flew in, and the doctor said, we don't know why he's dying. We don't know what's wrong. We don't know what else to do for him. So I was on a feeding tube. So they incisioned here and then put this tube that put liquid food into my stomach called TPN. And then I was on 200 milligrams of infused prednisone because I couldn't even take anything orally. So orally, the max you'll take is 60 milligrams for reference. I was on 200. Then I was on like 3 different antibiotics because they thought it was a bacteria killing me. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I found. Then I was on 3 grams of Dilaudid. Now, Dilaudid is 7 times stronger than morphine. So this is what you give to someone who's dying. So I'd hit a button and I'm on legal heroin, high as a kite. And I'm also on Ambien to help me sleep. And I'm having hallucinations. So I'm seeing, now I don't remember this. So I was in that hospital for about 4 weeks. And my mom would say that I would be looking out the window in the hospital. There's a window in my room, thankfully. There's some natural light. And she said I was talking to my dead sister, twin sister. Now,
do you have a dead twin sister?
No. So she didn't know what I was saying. So hallucinations like you can't imagine. So the point of all this story is I went to such a hole of pain, of suffering, of not knowing where to go, watching my family sit next to me and not being able to walk and not being able to help. Like the hardest thing when you're sick is, you kind of come to terms with you and what's happening with you, but to not be able to be there for your family and just see them suffer.
Yeah.
It does something to you where you, that's what I was most angry about. Like when you get there and you've been sick for so long, or you kind of feel this like loss of energy and loss of ability, like consciousness, it's just like you get angry that you have to watch your mom in pain.
Yeah.
And you have to put your sisters through that and your dad through that. And so that was the hardest thing about it. And really, that's what gave me the passion to be here. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's what drives me. It's what drives me to study, to learn, to connect, to look for solutions. Is I want to build a world where we can get happy, we can get healthy, we can eliminate this idea that we are sick people, that we have to identify with this disease that a person stamped us on the forehead with. That's not true. It's just a subjective opinion, a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
subjective opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of want to like stop you right there because this story is it's so impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so impactful. If you think about it, like where is it coming from? Where did it stem? Because I'm hearing 19 years old, right? 19 years old. And then all of a sudden you started getting these symptoms.
Out of nowhere.
I
could eat pizza, all right? KB, I could eat pizza. I could drink alcohol. I ate fast food my entire life. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. It was McDonald's, pizza. It was 1,500 calorie meals. It was Subway sandwiches. Everything was gluten. Everything was dairy. Everything was Fruit Loops with the red 40. Right.
Everything was banned.
Everything was the red dyes. That's what I grew up on. I had no problems. No one in my family had IBD, IBS, or health issues of the magnitude. We just thought about macros. You eat a lot of food and then you go run it off. That was a classic 90s idea of being healthy. As long as your waistline's not getting bigger, you're okay. And so it just came, we were completely unprepared of it. We didn't know what organic food was.
Yeah.
We kind of, was it a thing? What was big? And when we started diving into Google, we were lost. We were overwhelmed. This idea of toxic load, this idea of clean eating, of gluten being bad, or is dairy bad, or is the air quality bad, or, why did this even happen to me? And I have some stuff I want to share with everyone today of what I actually found that I believe caused me to get so sick.
That was what I was curious about. And I kind of feel like I'm on the same trajectory as you, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
So it was, but it took 10 years. So where we are now is 10 years of pain and suffering. And, I was housebound for a year. It took me about 3 months to walk again. And then I started weaning myself off of Entyvio, which is the immunosuppressant I was using, methotrexate immunomodulator, prednisone, and I used an antiviral chemotherapy to help save my life. And then I was also on painkillers, Ambien as well for sleep, things like that.
So you were going up and then you were going way down.
Yes. So I'd come off certain medications and then have to go back on them, like prednisone. You'd be on 40 milligrams, taper down, back on, 40 milligrams, taper down, back, taper down, go back on. And that happened for about 4 or 5 years. But when I started getting to that place where I, started to really heal, when I almost died, I had already been practicing natural medicine for about 2.5 years.
Really?
So
Wait, while you were in the hospital bed?
I had already been practicing.
Pretty much.
I'd been working with naturopath professors. I was, studying. I'd already tried things like very strict AIP, basically carnivore for like 80 days straight, 90 days straight.
Why did you try carnivore?
Fasting. I was trying anything. I was reading because once I got sick, it was actually my mother, and I think a lot of moms are probably listening right now. My mom was coming at me, just buying anything she could find on the internet of like, try this supplement, try this gluten-free thing. Let's have almond milk.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the dairy. Let's try the SCD diet. I found this famous book by Elaine Gottschall, The Specific Carbohydrate Diet. It's a famous book for IBD, or what Jordan Rubin did, or there were some books out there, and Jeannie Patel Thompson. And I was so overwhelmed by it. Just for parents, be patient with that kid. I know they're going through so much. They'll get there, and I'll hold space for you. I was going through so much, and she was throwing the stuff at me, and she would make all this healthy food.
Your
that
mama?
It tastes like cardboard. I was a kid. Tastes like cardboard. I'm hungry. I can't hang out with my friends. I want pizza.
Now you're hangry.
And now my life is miserable. And you're trying to tell me I can't eat this way for the rest of my life and I have to eat this forever? I can't do it.
Yeah.
Give me the drugs.
Yeah.
I was let's go to the doctor. He wants me to take drugs. Sure. I was not anti-drug. I wanted my life back.
Yeah.
So there's an emotional change. There was a spiritual. I had to divorce my old self, the old way I got happy.
Wow.
So
what was the old way was what? Hanging out with buddies, partying.
Just American teenage life that we grew up with. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What did they eat, dude?
Yeah.
Pepperoni pizza on a Friday night. Let's go, man. It was like, that's how we thought as like 15-year-olds. Like, let's go get a Subway sandwich. Let's get some Chipotle. We're broke. We need a $6 meal.
Exactly.
And so I had to divorce how I socialized. I divorce how I got happy. I had to divorce this idea that it's someone else's job to get me healthy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize it, but I grew up in a world where my health was delegated to someone in a white coat.
Right. A lot of people still are.
And it was just, I had to go through years. And so I hope today is to give you that passion, that excitement, that not only is this going to help get rid of all this scary, dark stuff around all these toxins of like, oh my God, how do we live? Everything's a bomb, right? To this is the best life I could have ever hoped for. I am way happier now than I ever was as a kid. I'm way more empowered. I am me 2.0. I don't even want to be my old self. I am fulfilled in every way, grateful, excited, and curious and empowered. I don't miss a thing about that old life. And I know you can do it too. I will make space for you guys. This is going to be the best thing you ever do.
You know that moment when you're craving something crunchy, but also trying not to eat junk? Same here, folks. That's why I'm obsessed, and our family is, with masa chips. They're made with just 3 clean ingredients: organic corn, 100% grass-fed beef tallow, and sea salt. That's it. No seed oils, no weird stuff, just real crunchy goodness rooted in tradition. And trust me, they actually taste amazing. My pantry is never without them. And the best thing of all, guys, my family actually eats them. Holla frickin' Luya. So if you're trying to snack smarter without giving up flavor, give masa chips a try. Head to masachips.com and use my code ToxicFreeKB for 25% off your first order today. That code again is ToxicFreeKB. Your snack game just got a serious upgrade. Let's talk about light stimulation. Whether you're looking to boost collagen, reduce inflammation, improve recovery, or just feel more grounded and energized, LightStim's FDA-cleared LED devices are a game changer. I personally love that their technology is backed by over 20 years of science and trusted by doctors, professionals, and over 1 million people at home. This isn't just about beauty, folks. It's about healing at a cellular level. And with LightStim's full body LED bed and handheld devices, you can experience the benefits of light stimulation, also known as many people like to call it red light therapy, even though we know it's just pure, beautiful light stimulation from the comfort of your home. So are you ready to try it for yourself? Use my exclusive code ToxicFreeKB at checkout for 10% off your order at lightstim.com. Your body and your skin will thank you. Using a sauna is a key part of my wellness routine and healing journey as I continuously recover from mold exposure and boost my blood circulation for my Raynaud's. Detoxing and sweating is absolutely essential, and my Sunlighten infrared sauna has become an amazing game changer in my life. It helps me sweat out toxins, support my overall immune system, and most importantly, calm my central nervous system throughout my healing practice. We could all use a little more of that, could we? The gentle, low EMF infrared heat helps me relax, de-stress, and feel like myself again. If you are looking for a natural way to reduce your toxic load, boost circulation, and promote deep relaxation overall, I cannot recommend Sunlighten enough. It's been an essential part of my personal healing, and I know it can support you too. Head to toxicfree.com, go to my shop page where you'll see the Sunlighten ad, and use code ToxicFreeKB at checkout for up to $1,400 in savings on your sauna. Guys, yes, $1,400 in savings. Your body and your nervous system will absolutely thank you. Again, that code is ToxicFreeKB for up to $1,400 off. You can also find the easy to click through link in the description below. Send me your sauna pics. Guys, let's start sweating together.
Okay, so let me pause you for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because when you were like jumping into like, this is my new life, this
Yeah.
is the opportunity that I do get to have. I think it's very, like, we should really point this out there to people like, okay, you get a diagnosis of something. And I have like a whole list of questions. I wrote out this whole thing, but I feel like this is going to go way out the window.
No, hit me with them.
But, you know, like, I think everyone really, really, really needs to take home with them today that in your life, everything is a choice. And of those choices that you have to make, they define you. They make you, your habits, whatever they are. So your old life, right? You were so, you know, used to doing things one way, but then you were like, okay, that was taken away. So you had to become adaptive and be like, what are going to be my new choices of joy in life, right? It's all about the mental, like restructuring the brain waves and saying like, okay, how am I going to make the best out of this moment? How am I going to be creative? How am I going to create a life out of scratch, right? Cooking from scratch. You know, a lot of people in this world, I'll use food as an example. It's a great example. You know, we have so much ability to go to the grocery store, get whatever we want. But some people don't. They have to make a meal out of what they have in their refrigerator that night, you know? So it's like becoming adaptable, making those choices with what you have and making great choices because you feel good in the end if you do it, you know? I think that's really profound. But you were mentioning, you were like, KB, I think I know where the root cause was. Because you were like in 2015, I think it was, you basically were told that you were in remission without the use of drugs, right? You wanted the drugs and then you got off the drugs. But I kind of want to jump into that root cause first that you kind of thought about. And did someone tell you this or were you like, I think this is where it's coming from?
No, and that was what driving me insane. Because when you get this diagnosis stamped on your forehead, you start to try to give yourself hope by saying, I'm going to find the root cause the doctors don't know about or they're missing, or and you go down that path. So the first awareness I had is it's not a root cause, it's root causes. The body works in symmetry, okay? And I like to say root issues so everyone can calm down with the flaring word of that's the cause.
Yeah.
There are root issues going on with the body. And what I realized is that my anatomy was really broken. I could not digest food. That wasn't Crohn's and colitis. That's poor digestion. That's not up for debate. That's an anatomy problem. I didn't have enough stomach acid. I had low pancreatic enzymes. I had a lack of bioproduction in my liver. That's like an engine just not working properly.
That seems so simple, Dane. Like
It's a reframing that it took, KB, guys, you know how long it took me to get here, for how much depression, anxiety, and pain I went through and how many books I read. I had this aha moment. What if I had to stop finding the root cause and I could just optimize my anatomy?
Yeah.
Doctor, you say I have Crohn's disease. I'm seeing signs in integrative medicine. I'm seeing plenty of signs. I have poor digestion. Is that something I can optimize? And can that help with this experience?
And how did you get poor digestion? Was it passed down to you? I mean, those are questions that like I want to jump into too.
Okay, so we have the idea of how do I fix it and why did it happen?
Yeah.
Well, poor digestion is going to happen when you have microbiome imbalances. So a lot of it's going to happen from this idea of a toxin. So let's start with this root, one of these roots as a toxin. When you have toxins, heavy metals, environmental toxins, air toxins, so like VOCs that you breathe in from candles, volatile organic compounds, or you have PFAs in your plastic shirts and underwear, or you have glyphosate in your food. These toxins, all of them, they do the same kind of route. They all kind of have the same process I'm going to share with you today that will change your life. Okay, write this down. These toxins go in and they inhibit the beneficial bacteria from properly growing. So they inhibit bifidobacterium, lactobacillus strains from properly colonizing and defending the area. So they start to hurt the ability of the good guys to defend this terrain. So there's a terrain issue. Think of Gotham City, okay? Think of, some guys coming in. You have a lower amount of police officers. You have more kind of bad guys on the streets, okay? So the whole microbiome is being a bit deteriorated. Like glyphosate has been sued for issues of causing cancer and deteriorating the microbiome as a known antibiotic, okay, as a destroyer of the microbiome. So your city is turning more into Gotham. It's inhibiting that. The second thing is when it starts to inhibit, you start to get more what's called dysbiosis. So dysbiosis, like colonic dysbiosis. Did you know that candida is naturally found in the colon? But when people have high candidiasis, it's basically overgrown candida that's supposed to be there, but it's overrun your gut. It's now in places like your small intestine that it shouldn't be, called small intestine fungal overgrowth.
Right.
When you have small intestine fungal overgrowth, that's one of the reasons is because toxin loads are inhibiting your natural defenses, which allows this candida to start growing where it's not supposed to. It starts to release what's called endotoxins. Endotoxins also, endotoxins.
Attack.
You got it. Think of like a gas, this gas that's putrid and causes inflammation in your body, and it releases something called lipopolysaccharides.
Yep.
Your
little pieces of shit.
These are big words, guys, in science. That just means that every day, these dysbiotic bacteria, fungal growth, it could be viral load shedding, it could be parasites, all these pathogens, it starts to create an environment for them to exacerbate. They release endotoxins every single day. They die, they grow. They die, they grow. Every day, billions. And then your body has to process them. Well, they're very inflammatory, and then they start to get through your gut lining because of the toxins, because of the lack of good bacteria, because of emulsifiers and all these other toxins. They also degrade your natural shield in your gut called your mucosal membrane.
The lining.
This beautiful, thick, slippery, slimy
sounds awesome
shield in your gut that protects the tunnel. Think of your gut as a pipe, the pipeline in your gut to your bloodstream. And in between there lives 70% of your immune system. Autoimmune disease, right? The weakening of the mucosal membrane.
Wait, back up.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Here's the pipe. That's your gut lining. It's basically the outside world inside of you. It's this big pipe, 30 feet long, okay? The esophagus, the stomach, the duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum into the large intestine, okay? About 25, 28 feet entire length. And in that is the microbiome, okay? And your microbiome's everywhere, but the predominant amount is in your colon and in your small intestine. And then you have this natural shield called the mucosal membrane. And then you have this epithelial cell lining, this cell lining that's as thick as 1/2 of a human hair, okay? And so it's very fragile and it's protected by the mucosal membrane. Well, toxins, They hurt the microbiome, and they also hurt the mucosal membrane. So that mucosal membrane can be destroyed by things like emulsifiers. You ever seen peanut butter that doesn't have oil on the top?
Yeah.
Or how they hold together these crappy ice creams? Those are emulsifiers like polysorbate 80 that act like dishwasher detergent to basically wipe away your beautiful protective mucosal membrane.
Oh my gosh, I feel you lost me on the peanut butter part because, well, hold on, because true story, like my husband, ever since I've like met him, like I don't like eat this, not that. But man, what a world he has turned with the peanut butter. Guys, when I met my husband, sorry, babe, I always throw him under the bus, but he was like Jif, Skippy. I was like,
that's emulsifier central.
I was like, oh my God. And so I tried all the different types and stuff. And he finally came back from the grocery store one day and like found one. I took my little Yuka app out. I'm like, it's like a 98%. And it was like so great. I'm like, if you like this, great. And it was approved. So I was like, I had to share that story because you guys, if my husband can find one that tastes equally as good as those ones, you can do, like, it's totally possible. But I think that's such a beautiful thing. You were talking about like the autoimmune with the whole intestine. Autoimmune is such a trendy word, such a catchy word these days.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, I have an
autoimmune.
autoimmune. And like, if we can throw my story out there back and also to the diagnosis, because I kind of really want to talk about this whole subject of root causes, diagnosis, and dismissing also the diagnosis as our identity. Kind of into the mental health of how we identify with something. Because when we identify with something, we define ourselves as something. And then often at times, I feel like you wear that badge and then you get sicker and sicker and sicker.
Yes. Well, and as we were saying about like this story of how these toxins get into your bloodstream and they destroy your microbiome and it's this vicious cycle, when you start to understand what's happening in your body and you start to see it more as anatomy and not necessarily like a ghost. When I got diagnosed with IBD and I had this diagnosis, as you were saying, it was like I was always looking over my shoulder for a big bad wolf that was going to attack me.
Yeah.
It felt like there was I did EFT tapping once on this and they said, tell me what IBD looks like.
Oof.
And I said, a dagger.
A dagger?
It's an emotional.
Those are the feelings.
It's a mental, emotional thing you do. So guys, one of the things you can do is you can tap on parts of your meridian, right? The top of your head, top of your brow, top of here. And you can sit here and you can almost have a therapy conversation and it will help you release energy. I know it sounds weird, but I do this with my EFT coach all the time. I'm going to do this. And then we're sitting here, we're doing something called laser tapping. And Jeannie Patel helped to do this. I think lasertapping.com, you can see. She has a great course on this. Jeannie Patel is an old school healer, great healer of IBD. And she goes, tell me what it looks like. And I said, and think of your disease right now. I said, it's a dagger. She goes, what color is it? I said, it's red.
Oh.
And she goes, how does it feel? Sharp. It's hard and sharp.
Yeah.
And emotionally, it felt like it was pulled back in my large intestine, right on the left side, lower left quadrant. And it was pulled back at any moment. You just release.
Right.
Every single time I felt the feeling that I needed to use the restroom, it felt like my disease was active. So when a normal person feels like they have to go to the bathroom, it's just, I have to go to the bathroom. For me, it was, there's the disease.
Yeah.
So every day it was like this trauma that 15 to 20 times a day, there's my disease. And then I would see the disease if it was blood or mucus in a bowel movement or something like that. So there was this emotional side. As I started to understand, we all have to start understanding what's happening in our body. And I want you to think of anatomy because it's more like, as you said, it's so simple. So how do I deal with diagnosis is start to take my power back.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm not sick, I'm not sick, I'm not sick. You can to a certain extent.
Well, someone tells you you're sick and then you are sick and then you're like, I'm sick. And then so like you use that everywhere you go. And then you're like, is this actually getting worse? You know, is it also my emotions coming into play now too? Like the anxiety?
Yes, it is.
Because
that's the vicious cycle of it. You start believing in your sickness and you go through trauma of sickness and then your nervous system is conditioned.
Hypervigilant.
Conditioned, and now you have trauma. If a person goes to war, you can talk to them all day long. They have trauma from that war. And I'm not trying to just compare chronic sickness to war, but in a way, when you've been stuck in a house or you can't walk and you can't eat food and you're in pain and no drug can help you and your family can't help you, that is trauma, and it has to be dealt with from a spiritual and a psychological.
Yeah.
And when I went through this whole thing of like what's going on in the gut, and I started spending a decade or more practicing functional medicine, learning it, I was taking my power back and giving my mind, my spirit a reason to say, you're not a sick person. You just have poor digestion. You're not a sick person. You just have a crappy microbiome.
And is that with all of like Crohn's colitis?
Are you ready to elevate your skincare game? Meet Delavi Sciences, a revolutionary skincare brand blending cutting-edge science with natural ingredients to create products that truly deliver. With proprietary formulas like their award-winning Ionia line, Delavi Sciences harnesses the power of space-age technology and advanced research to target fine lines, wrinkles, and skin damage. I absolutely love this line so incredibly much, y'all. I use it daily and have noticed that my fine lines that were starting to form have been dramatically reduced in appearance. Yes, naturally. This is definitely a hooray moment for me. I also love that their products are dermatologically and clinically tested, as well as a toxin-free. Perfect for anyone embracing a healthier and toxic-free lifestyle. Guys, I don't approve everything, but this I definitely approve. By listening to Toxic-Free with KB, you'll get exclusive access to, get this, 25% off all Delavi Science products by using code TOXIC-FREE, because your skin deserves science, not shortcuts. Once again, visit delavisciences.com today and use code TOXIC-FREE for 25% off and experience the future of skin health. To hear more about this innovative skincare line, listen to my entire interview with one of the founders of Delavi Sciences, Dr. Kyle Landry. I think one of the hardest things to incorporate change into our lifestyles is probably our cleaning products, because a lot of people think just because that smell is coming out, that means it's clean. But truly, y'all, you've heard me talk about this time and time again, that smell could actually be a toxin. So something that I've actually incorporated in our household, and I actually send the kits to all of my friends and family members as gifts time and time again, is Branch Basics products. Guys, Branch Basics never set out to sell soap. They truly are on a mission to help people create healthy homes and experience the power of pure. I am totally on this game as well. And someone that has been highly sold is our house cleaner. She has helped toss the toxins with me, and she uses Branch Basics for all of our cleaning necessities at our house. And let me tell you, we don't always live in a clean space. We've got 3 kids, 2 dogs, I've got a husband, so we've got a lot of things to clean up. 3 of the things that have really popped into my shopping cart lately are their new formula laundry detergent. Their toxic-free candle, because baby girl loves a good bath time and sitting by the candles at night when she enjoys her good veggie bowls. And also their hand soap. But 2 of the staples that I live by in our household, and trust me when I tell you I can use this for everything, even on my pups, is their Oxygen Boost and their Liquid Gold Concentrate. So guys, I'd like to help you get started on your cleaning by giving you 15% off all starter kits. And also, guys, this applies to their hand soap and their toxic-free candle, all the things. Not only will you get your starter kit, but you can get a whole bunch of other items to stock up on. Give the gift to yourself and use my code over at Branch Basics, which is Toxic-Free KB. Guys, again, if you want 15% off, use Toxic-Free KB. Let's be real. Finding a snack that's actually clean and delicious, not easy these days. That's why I'm obsessed with Vandy Crisps. They're made with real ingredients, no weird stuff, and they seriously deliver on flavor. It's the perfect go-to for when you want to snack without second guessing what's in the bag. My youngest son says that they're like thick, flat French fries, and he even squirts a little ketchup on them and off off he goes. I actually sent my husband on one of his recent long journey 42-mile hikes with them, and he said it really put the spot when times got tough. So I think you'll all enjoy him too. And because you're part of the Toxic-Free with KB community, you get a little something extra. Use code TOXICFREEKB for a discount at checkout on your first purchase. Grab yourself some original classics or their newest French onion flavor. Let me know which you like the best.
And this is what I get so excited about it. You show me a sick person and I can start to show you poor microbiome, poor drainage systems, cellular toxicity, a weakened mucosal membrane, a backed up liver. I'm going to show you toxins in the brain. I'm going to show you a poor regulated nervous system where the vagus nerve system isn't stimulated. I'm just going to be able to show you. And I've worked with thousands. I've probably worked with more people with IBD than probably anyone, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to meet someone who has. I mean, I've been seeing people for 10, 15 years with IBD, and my team, we see like 150 IBD clients a week. Like, this is what we do. Our practitioners, our doctors, we see people in Dubai, India, all over. I've yet to meet someone who's been sick where I haven't seen root issues, like anyone. So we can break it down to, here's a diagnosis: multiple sclerosis, lupus, endometriosis, depression.
Can I throw in Raynaud's?
Yeah, you can throw that in.
That's something I've dealt with.
Yeah. And
I want to jump into this with you.
So integrative practice is now to start looking at the biology of the body and how is it processing, how is it doing? And there are really three main things you have to break down when you're starting to deal with sickness, okay? And it's going to be drainage. Like, one of the big things is like, how well can your body get rid of man-made chemicals? These are not natural chemicals. How well can your body detoxify pathogens?
The methylation process? Is that what
that could be in that branch of that detoxification. And then it could be also the amount of toxic exposure in your environment. We're seeing a massive and paralleled increase in Western world disease, autoimmune disease, chronic disease, cancers, with the increase in Western ideals, antibiotics, the way we're having children, the way we're having food, anything from a microplastic to the fragrances, to the plastic we wear, to the type of beds and the gas off of and the 5G everywhere. I mean, we are bombarded with toxins. And the word toxin is another one. So you have, how well does your body process them? How much and how many layers of toxins? And then underlying pathogens that your body can't handle. The 5 pathogens we look at are going to be mold, candida, bacteria, viral, and parasitic.
Okay, pause. I've had mold 3 times. Illness.
There you go.
We actually had to remediate the house that we're currently living in. And we live in a place where it's called the Mesa. And so there's like a lot of like a fog, like that kind of like lingers all the time. But, I think it all started way back when. And if people that have been listening to my show have heard my story a couple of times, but I feel like it's happened way back when because I grew up in Kansas and I played in the basement and I'm a swimmer and all the things. And, I ran around on grass that was probably sprayed in fertilizer, like all these things, dysfunctional household upbringing. Well, so it's like perfect storm creates symptoms like many years later, right?
Yeah.
Raynaud's symptoms, right? Why is your body reacting in certain ways? But the whole mold discussion, I think, is so fascinating. I'm going to jump into that a little bit later because I do want to touch on that.
Yeah.
But when I want to go back to root causes, because when I say you had IBD, are you still currently?
I'm good.
You're great.
I feel great. Yeah.
That is so awesome.
I haven't taken a medication in 10 years.
I love
I don't worry
that.
about a bathroom. I eat a variety of food. I can eat whatever I want. I just don't poison myself.
Because you know how to control with the enzymes.
Well, I can break down how I got there. It was a lot of trial and error and years and trying, and I was on restrictive diets and tried different protocols and couldn't get this and couldn't get that. And I spent my life dedicated to, how to build a roadmap and support others and help others in doing that and build a community of people where we can grow together. That's one of the benefits is I have other practitioners and other people who have also on the same road, and we share and we grow together. What's this? What's that? How's this related? And essentially, I had to reframe my life, but a few things I think people should aim for that I think are really exciting. And this idea of, am I healed? Is, number one, if you don't feel safe in your body, can you call yourself healed? And that's something I remember I was in Tahiti one time, and we were like on a get away from everything. Let's meditate. Let's just reset. And it was like, why do I still not feel safe in my body? And that's
here.
That's everything. I mean, because you could say, well, I'm still showing high inflammation. I'm still having this symptom. And so there's mental work to be done on that. There's emotional and spiritual work, but there's also physical work. So you have to kind of see everything as a holistic way of healing. And everything is combined. Everything is in conjunction. If you just try to do diet alone, you won't get great results. If you just try to take 100 supplements, you won't get great results. If you just try to, tap on your forehead and stand on your toes and clap your heels, you're not going to get the great results. It's everything combined, just like the body. Energy is in motion, okay? Healing has to be in motion. It cannot be stagnant. And so you have to create this rhythm and this balance. And I always tell people, don't just try to find the answer, build your answer. And it's like writing a symphony. And if your A note and C note is in the wrong place, the song is going to go da-da-da, wah, da-da-da, wah. And so you have to just, start it again and just build your perfect symphony and let it sing. And then get happy doing it and ask yourself, why am I missing this food? Why am I missing this social thing? Why do I feel empty? Why do I feel isolated?
Yeah.
Why do I have this need for alcohol, for smoking, for, for fast food, for sugar? And I just kept coming to that question. So as I continued down the healing journey, which is layers of healing, I just was willing to say, why do I have this craving? How does it serve me? And I was willing to be vulnerable. I still am having these needs, and I just want to know why. And why can other people be happy without them? That was my anchor. There are people who've had greater lives and happier lives who don't need this, don't have this crutch.
That is a really good point to bring up. Like, two things, like missing the social aspect, the social norms of what we've been conditioned as fun. I think it's interesting that you bring up, why do I feel I need to do this? Well, because it's been conditioned as a habit, maybe in your life, but also more of the emotional connection to it, right? Or the cover up, or what are you numbing? When I talk about root causes, and where I'm getting at is, actually, an instance I've been going through actually this week, last week as well, as a family, we had a family emergency, and, my sisters and I are coming together and thinking, well, wait, could this actually have been stemming from their childhood way back when? Ancestral trauma, wounds from the womb, Could this have started way, way, way back when? And could depression, anxiety also start that way too? Where did it come from? Can you change your story? Yes, we've all heard time and time again, you can rewrite your story. You can't. And it can be so effing hard. It can be so hard doing so. But you have to ask the question that you asked yourself. You have to ask yourself why. You have to be vulnerable with yourself and not shame yourself and sit there and say, why do I want to get drunk? Is it because like I want to have fun, but is that your like, is that what fun is to you? Like you really have to dig deep. And I'm not shaming anyone that wants to go out and have like
of course not,
champagne or whatever. Like, you do you, great. But you have to realize in the end, like, when you feel horrible the next day, you can't wake up, you can't function. Like, why do you do that? Like, why do you do that? Why do you grab for things that are highly processed and then complain that you're not getting better, or you have another cold or whatever? Like, if you understand what things are actually doing to your body and your mind together and bringing the body and the brain back together, like, remember, we are a whole body. We live in a world that treats body parts. And just like you, Dane, I want to get everyone back together. Put the whole piece of the puzzle back together. So when I talk about like the family emergency that happened, finding out those big puzzle pieces of ancestral trauma or what have you, those are big pieces. I think that really shape maybe even your story. What happened to you before you were born, to your mother, and then you were born and you got her gut bacteria. Like, what happened?
There's truth in that.
There's so much truth. And I kind of want to break that down, because People are thinking like, oh yes, maybe like poor gut digestive enzymes, right? But then also we talk about the mental, the spiritual side too. All of that is inhabiting the holistic lifestyle.
As a person who hated this conversation when I was trying to heal, because I just wanted the facts, I wanted the numbers, I wanted the lab, the stats. I say this to you now as a person who could not wrap my head around the woo-woo, the emotional, the spiritual.
Yeah.
It is the foundation of true healing. And if you don't do it, your results will always be muddled. And if you don't step into it and let go of that a little bit and really start to process it and understand energy, you're never going to feel safe in your body and you're never going to feel healed. You're not just looking to be healed on a lab test. You're looking to feel healed, feel safe, feel like you again, feel you want to get your power back.
Yeah.
I lost my power when they gave me this diagnosis. Isn't that what the doctor does? They diagnose you, they put a stamp on your forehead and you lose your power and you walk out and you have this new reality you can't debate. Yeah. You can't argue. And everyone looks at you with these wide eyes and goes, what's the verdict? And you go, I've got multiple sclerosis. It's incurable and I have it for the rest of my life.
Yeah. But where did it come from? Why do you have it?
Your power just left you. And then I can tell, Katie, you got the fire. You're like, but why? But why? And I can feel that fire on you. And I want to hold space for everyone out there just who is still stuck in the pain of it. Because I'm fiery too, like you. And it was just like, no, you. I don't care how many letters behind your name. You are not going to tell me what my life's going to be.
Why I get so fired up. What really irks my pickle, what really ruffles my feathers, what really pisses me off, getting to the root issues in order to heal inflammation, autoimmunity, chronic illness. I mean, the body is screaming for help. The body is screaming for help. Everyone, I just want to say it one more time. The body is screaming for help when you have autoimmune, inflammation. Yeah. So my thing.
When you have depression.
When you have depression, what is that coming from? And you don't have to have it forever. Like you don't. Someone that diagnosed you something as a child and says, you have this, start taking this pill.
Subjective.
Yeah. When I say like doing inner work with that, guys, it's so cliche, but you got to do the work. Like you got to do the work. You have to dig deep and say like, okay, what in my childhood happened? When did my first flare up happen? What happened then? What happened 10 years before that? What happened 10 years before that? Go way back when, I
want to give some people some tangible takeaways today.
You're so fiery. I love it.
Okay. As somebody, I'm here because I nearly died of a disease that I never deserved. And my 20s, a lot of my life was taken from me and it wasn't my fault. And no one knew how to get me out. And I was dying. I wasn't just sick. Sick was 3 years before that. I was dying. And I was looking to my mom, I was looking to my dad, I was looking to the best doctors. We'd already spent 40, 50 grand, which was a lot for us. We were just regular. We were not rich at all. I grew up in a house that cost 120 grand for the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Like we weren't poor, but we weren't rich. And I remember my sister was kind of throwing in money to help out too with like a Whole Foods bill. As they said, Whole Foods, whole paycheck a few years ago, because it was all organic and we go on Dr. Google and we buy everything.
Dr. Google.
I had to get off my knees and I had to stop being a victim and I had to take my power back and I had to become the CEO of my health. Once you cry out loud for a few years straight and you're watching everyone who loves you more than anything run around in circles and empty their bank accounts and empty all their energy and lose their jobs trying to take care of you. My mom came to live with me and lost her job because to try to help save me that I wouldn't lose my career with this. She wheelchaired me into an airport where I had a job that I couldn't lose because I needed the money to be able to pay rent because I didn't want to move back in with her and go on disability. Like real pain.
Dude.
I'm here because I went through such agonizing pain and I turned it into purpose. And I want to give you the takeaways today on how, if you are ready to take your power back and become the CEO of your health, this is the playbook. This is how you got to get started, okay? Number one, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So right now, if you feel bad, it is your responsibility to feel good.
I love this.
Okay. I say this, you have to walk towards a smile. Don't just analyze it. You have to understand what makes you laugh, smile, love, hug, dance, put your hands up in the air, clap your hands and say, yes, I am alive and I am healed. If you can't do that out loud, if you are too shy to put your hands up with me right now, you are not ready to heal. Okay? If you are not ready to cry in front of somebody, if you are not ready to pray in front of somebody, if you are not ready to admit your shame in front of somebody, you are not ready to heal. You cannot get healthy till you get happy. You are hearing the fire of me being stuck in my damn house for a year, being stuck sick for 4 years, refusing to be a chronically sick person, refusing this to be the reality of my life, and that this is what they will write on my tombstone. And so that's what's coming out right now. I can relive this pain and I can relive this fire. Because I know what it takes. The second thing, okay, you are your answer. It's not your doctor's responsibility. It's not your parents. It's not nobody's. It is you. You are a healer. You are divine, and you need to build your intuition. That's the third thing. Your intuition is the answer. You need to follow your gut. You gave your power away, and so now you don't trust yourself. But the doctor said this, but the podcast said this, but Google said this. What do you say?
What do you feel?
So when I got my intuition right, my life changed. I didn't know if I should eat plants or meats. I couldn't decide between all these debates. I only ate what I cooked because that sharpened my intuition. If I only eat what I cook, I start to know what is going on with my body. Next, I journaled every single symptom I had every day, and I journaled what I ate every day, and then I tracked my symptoms on a scale. So I became Dr. Dane, 10 minutes morning, 10 minutes night, and he was putting Dane in check. Your ass needs to stop going for those gummy bears, those Doritos,
because I felt like
all that stuff you used to eat. That's gone. That's dead. Underlying dead. The next week, I want you only doing this, this, and this. And I would give myself goals 5 days forward in my journal.
Wow.
Anyone who wants it, you can download the journal I use to heal myself. It's right here, completely free for you. I'm going to give it to KB. You can download it in the show notes, okay? That journal, I filled out every day. And now all of a sudden, I had a plan of what I was going to do tomorrow, what I was going to do next week, what I was going to do in a month. Because it was too daunting to say, I have to be carnivore for the rest of my life. I have to do 3-day fasts once a month for the rest of my life. I've got to only eat bone broth for the rest of my life. You've got to make it simple, okay? Simple, successful. If it's feeling hard, you're going to fail. You have to make your game plan start to feel more simple. So build your daily answer. Stop going for your life answer, okay? So these are the things that really change. Journal. Only eat what you cook. And then I started asking myself things that were a little uncomfortable for me, KB.
What are the things that were uncomfortable for you?
So something that a lot of people are unaware of is prayer. I wasn't comfortable getting on my knees and praying.
Yeah.
When you're that sick, you know what's funny? Listen, everyone out there, I don't care what your religious beliefs are. When something's really bad in life, do you find yourself going in your head going, dear God, please help me out of this. Please help save this person. Please help me get out of this. Please, I'll do anything. I'll believe in you. I promise. You know, that was real for me. I was dying. I stopped with all ego. I let go of everything. Like I had a thing with my dad.
Surrender.
My dad, I was so upset with my dad when I was 24. I wanted him to do certain things in my life. And that's what you're talking about, like family trauma. My dad didn't even know what town I lived in. And he didn't really check on me. We didn't talk unless I called him. There was just certain things. He just wasn't involved the way I thought I would be involved.
Was he a
narcissist?
Father.
No, he's the best guy in the world. He's just checked out. And he's just this docile. He's a company man and he just does his thing and he just doesn't want to be involved in a lot. And I felt like I needed him in ways that I would have done different as a 24-year-old man, trying to look at what it's like to be a father and like how I was going to be a father. Because when you start to be a younger man, you start thinking in your head how you want to be. I let that go. I called my dad and I told him why he was the best dad in the world. And I asked him and I just started communicating. I stopped being angry, you know, on the low, on the DL. And so I forgave him. I got close with my dad because I needed him. I started praying every morning, every night. So I was reading this book by Jordan Rubin called The Maker's Diet. And he had this, and the best thing about his book was his story. And it made me cry every day when I was reading it because I was like, that's me. Like that is me. If he can do it, I can do it. And I ripped out this page where he had this morning prayer and this night prayer. You know, Father God, this is the day the Lord has made. I rejoice and I'm glad in it. And I just said, I stapled it to my room. So my room became like my healing home. And I got on my knees. I didn't pretend to get on my knees. I got on my knees every morning and every night. And I read the morning prayer and the night prayer. And then I said out loud, actionable. What is the purpose of today? Don't worry about next week. Because you always get overwhelmed over what's happening next week. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do school. I'm not going to be ready for the wedding. I'm not going to be ready for the pregnancy.
Anxiety is in the future.
It's always in the future. Right? I said, the purpose of my day is to be the best the best son, the best brother, the best friend, and the best leader that I can be for myself and to heal myself of Crohn's and colitis. And I dedicate my day to that. And that is the purpose of my day. And nothing else matters except that. Not the gym, because I wanted to work out. I want to be big. I want to make money.
Yeah.
And I'd say it out loud, not the gym, not making money, not trying to be social and go to the club. None of that matters. What matters, and I dedicate this day to healing. And I did that for about 190 days straight. I said that 195 days, 190 days. When I was housebound. And then at night, the purpose of my day has been to build integrity with my word and myself. You want to feel better about yourself? You need to build integrity with your tongue. Okay. What you say is what you do, and that will build confidence, and that will build fire, and that will build conviction, and that will build intuition. When your doctor says something's not impossible and you say, you don't know me and you don't know my integrity and you don't know what I'm willing to do. And I had to build all of that.
If you're enjoying the conversations we're having here on Toxic-Free with KB, please send in a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and follow us on YouTube and TikTok at Toxic-Free with KB. And don't forget, we're on Instagram at toxicfree.kb.
I have to know something. So
Yeah.
were you raised religious?
I was raised in a church, but I like a lot of kids, you kind of spoon fed it.
Right.
And I didn't have any I hadn't been tested in life. A lot of us, especially in America, we're so lucky. We really weren't tested. When something bad happened to us, we went and cried to mom, or we cried to the teacher or the principal or a police officer, and then they went and fixed it for us.
Right.
And yeah, I got punched in the mouth a few times as a kid, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
And so there are times in life where you get tested, and I say it's the best thing that ever happened to me now. There was no obvious answer, and there was no quick thing. I spent years trying to rebuild my life, and I failed many times where I wanted to give up on month 2, give up on month 6, give up on month 4, KB, give up on year 4. And I had to balance what I did with that energy. I had to give it up to something higher than myself. That always helped me. I had to sharpen my intuition, and I had to realize that I'm not trying to find the answer. I'm building an answer, and I'm adding things in conjunction. So, okay, I think the nutrition's good. What about once a day or once a week fasting with bone broth, with meditation, working on the autonomic nervous system and helping to engage the vagal nerve while I'm grounding and while I'm doing EFT tapping, and I'm reading a book on spiritual healing, like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Like, that is how I did it. I got so good at how to compound. And then when I was overwhelmed and I was depressed and I was anxious, I had a Batman belt of how to walk towards a smile.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll give you some real shame. I just pooped my pants. I weigh 135 pounds. I just saw blood again. I didn't see blood for the last 3 days. I thought I got it gone. No, it's still not away. I don't know how much longer I can keep eating the same meal, because I only eat this very limited meals, and I can only tolerate about 1,600 calories without severe pain, cramping, urgency, and multiple bowel movements. And I don't know how much longer I can keep living like this without running out of money.
Or your mental health?
And I'm losing my life. I'm only 25 one time.
Yeah.
Because when you're 25, you're like, you remember being 25, yeah. You're like, this is the top of the mountain in a way. It's like,
oh God, not for me.
Well, you kind of think.
But for a guy, I feel like it might be a little bit different.
Well, it's different. We all kind of like, this is my youth, And so all of that energy of I'm being robbed. I never deserved this. Why is this happening? Why is this diet not working? I did everything this book said. I tried everything this naturopath doctor said. All that's going through my head. So to deal with that energy, it was go get in the sun, put on Bob Marley.
Nice.
Read the book. Here's a good hack for you if your mind's really overwhelming how you want to feel. You cannot read an exciting book that can help give you solutions and think about your problems at the exact same time.
Nice.
You can't read that page of notes right now and listen to me at the exact same time.
I can't. I haven't even followed along on one.
Because you can't be here with me. So if I'm really in this book.
That's why we're in person only, yeah?
If I'm really into this book, I can't be thinking about everything, all those negative energies. Those are energies. Those are emotions, energy in motion.
Yep.
All those energies. I can't be conditioning my mind on them. Now I'm conditioning what you speak into existence matters. This is how you manifest. This is what TH1 response is. This is what the microbiome is. And it's like, oh my God, aha. Now, ring, ring, ring. Dane, are you okay? Are you in the hospital? Are you okay? I'm great. My symptoms are down 20%, just to let you know. So I'm 20% better. I'm still seeing blood. My blood's down 20%. I just read this thing about ashwagandha helping the adrenal support. I think that's one of my problems. I think I found something today.
So you try it.
I'm now enrolling the person on the phone about what's good, what are solutions, what I'm excited about. Now I can feel my mom's energy going, oh my God, that's so great. You're in such good spirits. Now she's in better spirits. Now we can feed off each other in better spirits. Now she can tell me about her life.
Yeah.
And not just worry that her son's going to die.
Yeah.
So I'm building a new reality of excitement, of love, of positive energy. I'm learning to manage my energies, how much negative energy I allow in my life, I allow in my brain, I allow to hit at a cellular level versus how much I am conditioning like a weight, how much I'm feeling good. So I'd wake up, Bob Marley, cook my meal, get the sun in, toes in the sand. When I was 24, I took care of about 200 plants.
Oh, really?
I couldn't walk. I couldn't go anywhere.
You're like, I'm going to become an
I used to
expert
laugh.
plant dad.
I take pictures. Here's this skinny. When I saw
I need
Dallas
you to come
Buyers
over to
Club,
my house.
I should show you guys this picture. There's this picture on the internet of me where I have this mustache. I weigh 125 pounds at 6'2", and I look like Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh my gosh.
did that because it's funny.
Well, because
you got to find a
made
reason
light.
to smile.
You made light.
So I'm outside looking like Matthew. Literally, I look like, because my hair was long, because I was stuck in a hospital. So I had this long hair, a mustache, 125-pound white dude, put a cowboy hat on. I look like Matthew McConaughey, I'm taking care of 200 plants.
I think you have to make light out of such dark situations because that's what's going to bring you up. I know a lot of people, like, first of all, Dane, like a lot of people like are like, okay, IBD, we're talking about, poop and stuff. Like it's such a glamorous topic, I know, but it's a serious topic that has a lot of shame around it. And I truly, truly believe with a lot of chronic illnesses, yes, it can be genetically or things can be inherited, but also I really think root causes come from traumas, stresses, environmental factors as well, but also emotional traumas that maybe we don't even realize are in us until someone pulls it out or unless we sit with ourselves in that vulnerable moments. You were mentioning your father. I kind of want to jump into that if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm open book, guys.
The relationship you have with your father at a young age. Tell me about that because I'm curious what that looked like. Did you have to be a people pleaser? Did you want to be approved of? Did you want that relationship? You mentioned he was checked out. So how did that form in maybe what you stuffed down inside in your system and how maybe your gut instinct, no pun intended, but the gut instinct of like what may have happened in the end?
I think there was a lot of things. My dad is one of the best people on the planet. He really is. It was more about coming to age and wanting to like run with someone, like I had a fire. I wanted to do big things. I wanted to be strong. I asked for weightlifting equipment at 14. I wanted to compete, I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. I was like, oh no, I'm going to be 6'4", 225 pounds. And my dad was kind of looking at me like, I don't know if you got the genetics, bro.
Did he say you're never going to be like that?
Yeah, he did. And he never dreamed nearly as big as I did. And my mom did though. My mom was a big dreamer. So I'm half my mom and half my dad. And I think that was more the turmoil is that my parents they could not be different people and they probably should have never been married. And so sometimes I think it's a little bit of that two conflicting energies within me. I've got my dad's work ethic. I've got my dad's loyalty. I've got my dad's humor. And like my dad's in the same company for 45 years. I've got my mom's vision. I got my mom's entrepreneurship. I've got my mom's why not. And I got my mom's don't tell me what I can't do, what I can do.
The tenacity.
She's a firecracker. So, what's interesting to your point on that, two things about, experience. Right before I almost died, me and my long-term girlfriend broke up a week before. A week before I checked myself in the hospital. Like I wasn't even half as bad. I went bad like that.
After that?
I was in a gym lifting weights, doing like 20 pull-ups at a time 8 days before I checked myself in the hospital. It hit me. It hit me viciously like that. And that was like the third or fourth time I had really bad flares. So this isn't like when I almost died, that was years after natural medicine and trying and really bad reactions. The second thing, I just did a scalar energy reading, biofrequency reading. If you don't know what that is, it's very woo-woo and it's.
Hey, we're all about the woo here. We're like woohoo.
There's a deeper biofrequencies. They send frequencies in your body that's bounce frequencies back, and it can interpret different things going on in your body. And it's very hard to understand. There's some quantum physics. There's different types of frequencies, Rife frequencies, scalar energy frequencies. And she ran one panel, and one of the panels showed that the 3 most traumatic events in my life were all during the pregnancy and my birth. But she just said she had never read anyone like that in her entire life. And maybe that's why this fire is this defense, this need to serve. I think there's a lot there to continue to look at, but I've always been in a place where I'm not settled and I have to climb a mountain and I have to do something big. I've always been like that. And so there's pros and cons to how all of us are wired. I kind of look at life like for yang to exist, yin must exist. Mm-hmm. And, all the things that make me who I am and give me certain superpowers are also have their kryptonites. They have the yang of that. They have the yin of that. So I'm more of a person to just try to find gratitude in the beauty of it. Beauty is fleeting, it's fragile, and it's not certain. I don't try to judge myself. I always try to learn. I try to listen. Mm-hmm. But I think, that had something to do with it, that I always had something to prove. And I think always having something to prove did drive me into sickness. And it led me to indirect decisions that moved around. Like one of the root issues, a lot of people don't know this, I had Invisalign for 13 months right before I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. Invisalign is made of plastic. Oh. Recent clinical research has shown that people with inflammatory bowel disease or even GI issues have up to 50% more microplastics in their GI tract than the people who don't have these diagnoses. So microplastics are disrupting that same thing we talked about, the microbiome, the gut lining, they're getting into the brain. One research article lately showed that people are eating upwards of a credit card's worth of microplastics every single week. And this is just destroying our gut lining. The plastic water bottles, the plastic lining in your Starbucks coffee, even in the soda cans, the plastic we're putting in as containers. I mean, there's plastic everywhere. Well, I was under great stress right before I was diagnosed with UC. I was under great stress, not living where I wanted to live, working an office job, working in Washington, D.C., just because I thought I had to. And then I had also been wearing Invisalign for 13 months straight and just sucking down that microplastic every single day. So great stress plus other physical ailments, I think, were other different root issues that were going on. But that was also part of the peak of me and my father were having some issues. He was remarried. It was a really nasty divorce with him and my mother.
How old were you when your parents got divorced?
I was 13. They were talking about divorce when I was 9. And when I was living
10 years later, 19. That's what I told you.
There you go.
Remember? Yeah. I said, what happened to you 10 years before you got the first Big Bang symptom?
Very
interesting to listen to, folks.
Very much there. And then also I was sleeping on my dad's pull-out bed for a year because he had remarried and he was focusing on this new family's children. And I was already kind of like a man at 22. And so I was asking him to live with him because I wanted to pay off my $50,000 of debt from college because I had to pay half my way through college because I decided to go out of state and things like that. So, it wasn't like my parents, they did help in a great way. I had great parents, have great parents. But, I was essentially had to be kicked out and, go on, you got it. You got a $40,000 a year job and, go pay your debt, go get an apartment, go do it. And so it was just a lot of upsetness. And I was hoping for a little bit more, help me get out of the debt type of feeling. And
I think that happens a lot. I mean, yeah. I know I definitely went through there when a lot of my friends, when they moved back home with their parents would be like, okay, you pay your rent to live here. But then at the end, when they moved out, they'd give them all their money back. But I just had to pay rent and I never got it back. And I was like, woe me. And it goes back into that victim mentality. But then also, I mean, you really uncovered a lot of things that I think people could take home with them. Mm-hmm. There's so many things to consider in life that bring in chronic illness, that bring in quote unquote disease. Mm-hmm. And I think you really touched a bunch of them. Parents maybe getting divorced, maybe trauma from childbirth, right? You coming out into the world and knowing how sensitive you are and being like, well, maybe this is not the safest environment for me. Maybe you knew that wasn't like the safe, you're like, I know my parents are going to get divorced or something, but like the intuition, you went back on that. Or maybe then also the trauma that catapulted when your girlfriend broke up with you. all of these things compile. And people think like, oh, toxins, fertilizer, chemicals, but toxin overload can come so emotionally too in those trauma states. And we hold them down. And maybe energetically, as you talked about, you don't even know what's going on at the time. You just know that you're angry, you're upset, you wanted something further, you wanted something more robust in your life. That, my friend, is why you are so driven today, is because you've gone through all those hard times and those traumas. This is why I want to spin this, because, you're talking about IBD. Yes, that's one example. There's so many other examples of chronic illness out there, but I want people to realize that they are not stuck in that dark place. Like anything that's toxic in your life, very big word, right? But anything that's toxic in your life, anything that's beating you down, anything that makes you feel hopeless in life, you have to realize that just like you, just like me, being the advocate for your own health can create such a beautiful message to the rest of the world. And by you shining your light, makes everyone else shine their light and communicate, join community, and say like, no, like we can all help one another out. What a long-winded circle I just went in, but I think it makes total true sense. The more and more I crack you open, the more and more I see that, yes, maybe it wasn't just the bagel you ate for breakfast that day, or, the gluten or whatever. It could have been something much more deeper than we all even know. And I think people need to realize that chronic illnesses or diagnoses can come from something that's really deeply ingrained in all of us, and it's all individual. So I think that's something to kind of really point out there, besides just what to eat in a day,
For me, yes, I think I echo everything you said. I think you're absolutely correct. Something I always try to do is try to make it tangible and simple, because for me, it was too overwhelming. I didn't know what to do with this information.
It's so scary.
Just underline this word, feel.
Feel.
That's the big word, feel. How you feel. How you feel. If this podcast has helped you to get some aha moments that have changed how you feel, realize that nothing in your life has changed but how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling is something that you can go and experience. If you are not feeling good, you have to have your Batman belt of what helps you feel good. Yeah, you just whoosh. So if someone goes, Dane, what's your morning routine? Now you understand when I say, whatever makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Sauna. I feel like that today. I'm using my intuition. We talked about intuition. That a good sweat in the sauna will make me feel good. And I'm actually not going to read that book today. I'm going to go to this book and read 5 pages of this, because I want to read something about spiritual. I want to read something about mental. I'm going to read something about the gut. I'm going to read something about glucose, scientific. I'm going to, start with that. I'm going to do a workout, or I'm just going to do yoga, or I'm just going to do, a meditation, or I'm just going to go garden.
Yeah.
I'm willing. I want you be willing to try things that have the potential to give you good feelings.
Yeah, you brought up the sauna, and we have a sauna in our house, and my husband and I use it every morning together. It's like our little
But do you have
case.
mornings you don't feel like doing the sauna?
Well, yeah, all the time. And I don't do that,
And you do something else. That's the point.
Well, yes, true. But the feeling goes back to, what does that thing represent to you in your life, And it's I'm okay, it just reminds me of a warm hug. And what does a warm hug feel like, It feels like safety, So I think that's a really cool thing to go by feeling. And that goes back to intuition. I'm a really type A person where I can be disciplined every morning. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go to masters swimming. I wake up at this time. I do it, Tuesday, I'm running the trails. And, Thursday, I'm doing a rebounding class. Saturday, I'm back on the trails, and then yoga, then the farmer's market. I can be very good at being that disciplined. But lately, Dane, I totally agree with you. I've been that whole waking up, maybe I just want to not go to yoga today.
And I want to give everyone space to do that. From this whole you gotta want it, you gotta, this intensity in this America lately, or around the Western world. It's this, and I'm especially if you're sick. If you're sick, make space, space, because you have to feel good. And I get what you're saying. Well, Dane, I don't feel like eating restrictive foods today. It's like, okay, I understand.
But what's restrictive to you? What's restrictive?
I could spend a whole hour on that. I could really, I have so much I want to give you guys on food. And all of it, supplements, food, root cause, microbiology, what's actually happening in the gut and the cells and toxins.
Gosh,
like I could sit here for 5 hours and try to blow your minds. But feel when you're sick, just make space, guys. You don't need to go on an intense run. Like as a guy who lifted 6 days a week intensely, when I finally healed, I put down the intense performance athlete stuff.
Because of the cortisol.
I had to. I was dying. Like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. I can go to a gym and laugh and hug and smile and not have to bench 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And not have to go on a Stairmaster.
Yeah.
And not have to do HIIT training and make space for that. There is the performance world and then there's the health world, and they are not the same.
Can I ask you a question? Did I read somewhere that you were a model?
Yes, I was a full-time actor and model and a Zoolander for 8 years.
Well, so let me.
And I did jobs all around the world, and I shot for Nautica and Tommy Hilfiger, and I shot movies and all that. Yeah.
So because I think that's very interesting, also, like having that image and then having your world totally shift.
Yeah. Talk about I used to look and go, why God? Because I was a good old boy from Virginia. I was never in this industry. And next thing I'm Gucci's paying me to wear a suit at a party, and I'm looking at Leonardo DiCaprio there and Tom Hanks there and this person there. And I'm like, I grew up on all your movies. Like, is that really, Jennifer Lopez right there? Like, oh my God, there's the person, not just the head. And I was dying.
Yeah.
And it was just an insane reality. I took a one-way trip to California when I was right after I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed around 22. And then I looked at this and I just said, I can't do this anymore. Like I went to college because I was told to go to college, and I got this job because I was told to get this job. And I put on this suit and got this 401k and sat in this office for a year in Washington, DC because I was told to. And just the pain of being sick, I just said, I think I'm just going to live. I'm 22. I think I'm 23, 22. I think I've earned the right to just kind of do what I want to do right now. So I took a one-way trip to Southern California where I wanted to live. I always used to say, where the mountains meet the sea, you'll find me. And I loved the weather, and I loved just the health, and I loved the fitness. And I was just like,
same thing.
People are hot here. Like, let's go. Like, people are hot here. Like, this food's awesome. Like, these mountains are awesome. Like, I can't surf, but like, that guy's cool.
I can pretend
like,
I can do a wetsuit. Let's go.
One of my best friends I met when I first came in, he was such a Cali guy, and he was like tight jeans with Vans and a cool haircut. And he had all these hot girlfriends. And I was like this overinflated kind of like no neck Southern California kid who lifted heavy weights and watched football. And he just kind of set me right. And he was like, bro, you gotta change those jeans. Like you look like an idiot. He's just kind of giving me a good crap, and I loved him for it. And he kind of like took me on his wing a little bit and helped me understand California ways. But it was like a life I wanted. So guys, let's get happy. I think one of the things that saved me is I still lived where I actually wanted to live. That's why my mom lost her job, because I didn't want to go back to Virginia. I didn't want to go back to South Carolina. I wanted to be on the beach. I wanted to be where it was 73 and breezy. I didn't want another winter storm.
Because it brings you joy.
And I wanted to go outside with my sandals and go
That's
spearfishing.
That's California, baby.
Yeah, like I was born in Kansas. She's from Kansas.
Woo!
We were tired of that life. We were tired of that life.
I can't believe that.
And I was like, this is my dream. I'm not going to live up. So that helped me. Have a dream. Takeaway, write that down. Have a dream. Don't let the disease. Keep your dream. Keep the dream alive.
Okay, so you were talking about like food and nutrition. My mom was actually a functional.
I could spend 4 hours on that.
Okay, well, we won't spend 4 hours, but we're going to do some bullet points. My mom was a functional nutritionist, so I know a lot of information, and I like to experiment on all sorts of things sometimes. But like what people want to know. When we talk about digestion, what role does diet really play? And are there foods that you recommend that people avoid completely, and then foods that people like really should enjoy for, especially, we could use IBD as an example, Crohn's colitis.
Okay, my heart's telling me to go somewhere a little controversial, and I want to hit something. I want to hit you guys with something that you haven't heard before. And I want to stay away from the classic stuff because yes, we can talk about the obvious stuff. Let's just say it goes without saying.
I'm excited.
Processed food, alien food, chemicals in your food. We've heard this, okay?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us have heard this. Start eating things from the earth. Stop eating things from the labs. And we know why. A, B, C, D, the toxins, the chemicals, what it's doing to the gut. Okay. A lot of us get that. All right.
Let's disrupt the industry.
Okay. I'm going to say something. A lot of people are going to go, wait, what? Just give me context, okay?
Okay.
Food will never heal you. What?
Wait, but Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine.
Yes, food is medicine, but food will never heal the chronic disease.
Yeah.
Here's why.
That makes sense to me.
Food only creates space for a healing response. Metaphorically, imagine that you got the flu. You should always, I'm going to give you a metaphor, it's going to bring it in for you. You should always go to sleep. You should always get more rest when you have a fever and you have the flu, when you have a cold. But sleep doesn't directly heal or quote unquote cure the flu or the cold or the fever. It creates space in the body to have a healing response. Does that make sense?
Yes.
When you go to bed, it's not the bed will cure the flu. The bed allows your body to use its energy to then try to fight off the flu and let the liposomal C and the the herbs and the vitamins and all these things you're taking to help fight the flu work better, right? You should always sleep more to fight the flu, even though the sleep doesn't directly cure the flu. Food is very similar. Food creates, the number one thing you want from food is to create space for a healing response. If you look at every famous diet, the number one thing they're telling you is what is inflaming you. So with you're looking at food, the debates are this lectin, this polysaccharide, this phytic acid, this glyphosate, this sugar, this type of food is causing a histamine response, an inflammatory response. You can't absorb it, and it's then causing, these terrible things, so you can't eat it. We then take that as church as this is food, this bad is food, this food is bad, and this food is good. And then we debate and argue with each other. And why I'm starting with something controversial is you have to understand what you want from food from a foundational point of view and what you don't want from food. No matter what you're sick with, I really believe I would sit there with anyone with this and really debate this if need be. You need food to do two things. So when you're trying to food won't heal you, it creates a healing response. Number one thing you want from food is not to cause an inflammatory response. Meaning if you have a high nutrient dense piece of kale and you can't absorb that and properly digest that, it will cause an inflammatory response. If you have something like congee that has low nutrient density, has poor quality, has no fiber, it has no ability to help with resistant starches or polyphenols, it's not nutrient dense in any way, it's very carby. There's a lot of people would say there's nothing valuable about congee, but if congee doesn't cause an inflammatory response for your body, it is better than the kale. That's what I'm trying to say is that food, you have to realize that food is creating, the number one thing food has to do is help your body have a healing response. One of the fastest ways to heal is to fast, which is no food. So what I'm doing is now creating a barometer of what food can do and what food can't do. Food is extremely valuable. It's extremely important. It's imperative. It's key. But it still has a limit to what it can do. And if you eat nutrient-dense food, but it causes an inflammatory response, it is a waste of time for you.
Interesting.
So it's and I'm sure I know I've got her feathers a little bit perked up. Oh, wait, what is it? I don't know how I feel about that. The second thing, and that's why I said I want to go a little bit left with you guys and let's talk about it. The second thing food has to do is it has to increase bioavailable nutrient absorption. That's what a lot of people are saying about plant food from the meat side. Is they're saying that's not available. The amount of lectins in plant defenses we can't even absorb those nutrients and utilize it. And that's why a lot of us with IBD, we look at famous diets of I should eat this or eat that and say that won't work for me because when you have chronic inflammatory bowel disease, you have such a poor gut. All the famous diets don't work. You need such a unique way of eating. I work with people who come to me chronically sick and they're only eating 6 foods and I heal them.
What are those?
When I don't heal them, I reverse those issues.
What are they?
Everyone's different. Some people are saying, I can only have a piece of chicken. I can't handle red meat. I can't handle, I can't have bone broth because it gives me such bad a histamine response. Or I can't handle broccoli. I can only handle this carrot. Or I have a terrible reaction with this mushroom and I can only have this. People with extreme issues will find themselves backed into a corner where they can only handle something, and it's just what they found and what the trauma they feel, and tons of food fear. I've worked with the 10 out of 10 food fear in my career, like hundreds of them. The people where we sit there and have to really work on their ability to feel comfortable with a strawberry, okay? That kind of extreme issues. So you have to start bringing your power back and say, what can food do in my plan and what can it do? So I say that the food is extremely important, but the number one thing you need from food is a healing response. Food is your body is the cure. Your body is the answer, not food. Food allows your body to have the healing response. That's why fasting is so powerful. You don't do anything. Get out of the body's way. Your body will heal that wound right on your skin.
Well, and it also turns very mental when you fast.
Yes.
It's very, very, very mental.
Very mental, and also take it in context. If you're anemic, if you're underweight, if you're malnourished, if you are dehydrated, you should not be fasting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So everything I'm saying is generic. I can hear everyone out saying there are, examples out there that are not the rule, but I'm just saying create a foundation. When you do that, now you can start looking at it and start understanding what I call food philosophy.
I love that.
Here's the goal. I don't have a diet. I have a lifestyle that makes me happy and healthy. I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. I'm just responsible. I'm the CEO of my health to not poison myself. And I am also trained to be able to assess the risk of any food at any time based on where I am in my life.
I love this.
I want to give you a metaphor right now. This is the dream, okay? I want to give you your power back. Get rid of a diet. The only people who are on a diet are people who are imprisoning themselves for a short term because they want something and they don't even want to be on it. It's a short-term imprisonment to get something you want. I'm on a diet because I want to lose weight. I'm on a diet because I want to get rid of my acne issues. I'm on a diet because I want to get rid of bloat, right? But if you talk to a person who's a real vegan, like let's take vegan, they're not on a diet. That's a lifestyle. That's a choice. That's a cultural, that's a belief system. So the anger, the pain, I can't keep this up goes away, okay? It's a lifestyle, it's a choice. So don't get rid of a diet and build a lifestyle. Be able to build your specific lifestyle and be able to assess the risk of any plate of food at any given time for you specifically. I want to give one more metaphor to empower people with this. If you're driving a car right now, KB, and you're going to know there's certain times you drive 70, there's certain times you drive 30, there's certain drives you drive slower. Is it raining? Is it dark? Are you on a hill? Is it a mountain? Are you driving in Kansas? Are you driving on the PCH?
Yeah.
Okay. It will change how you drive that car. Think of food like driving a car. You have to see it like a responsible adult on circumstances. So another way I could say it is, I never cheat. I only celebrate. So I can eat whatever I want. If I'm at a wedding and it's the summer and my body feels good, my labs are good and I'm feeling good in my body because I trust my intuition, I will eat whatever I want. If I want to have pizza, I will give myself pizza. I will give myself cake. I will have wine. I will have beer, all of that stuff. Do I ever choose that? Almost never, because I don't desire it anymore. I have emotionally and spiritually released the desire to poison myself or have these things. I don't want the taste. I don't want cake. On my birthday, don't give me a cake. Okay? Give me a steak.
Give me a plan.
Give me a hug. Give me a friend, and give me what's good. Tell me something good.
I
in
love
life.
it.
Give me a joke. Give me a laugh.
Yeah, I love this so much. Before we close up,
yes,
because I know you could go on forever.
Yeah, and I know we didn't get too much on the food, and I'm sorry I couldn't keep going in that context, guys. But food philosophy, make sense of the food.
But I think people might want to know if they are struggling with digestive issues, because you were breaking it down to the digestion. Are there lab tests that you would recommend for them to go, like, get the flywheel turning to see what they then can do next, besides just intuitively knowing something is wrong, something's not right, or seeing something in the toilet that is not right?
Staple tests I like to use to start out with is, number one, under insurance, asking your doctor for your CBC and CMP, complete metabolic panel and complete blood count, then making sure they run your iron panel, your C-reactive protein inflammatory marker, Your ESR or sedimation rate, your SED rate is also an inflammatory marker. And then your vitamin D is going to be important. I want that vitamin D over 65 nanograms over milliliters, ng over mLs if I can. And also another one is like an RBC mag to see what's, if there's something telling me that you're deficient on magnesium. Most of us are. Most of us need to be taking magnesium. The second thing I love is a quantitative PCR stool test, like the gut zoomer is good, or a GI map. They're not perfect, but a PCR stool analysis is non-invasive. You can do it at home.
Yeah.
It's going to tell me a lot.
Yeah,
it'll tell you a lot about your colon health, digestion, dysbiosis, signs of SIBO. If there's any
pylori, all that stuff.
Obvious infections right there, like candida or a parasite, it can, it's not perfect. But the next one I would say is going to be a total tox burden test by Vibrant America.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be heavy metals. It's a 3 test. You pay for 2, but you get 3. So it's a nice little bundle. It's heavy metals, environmental toxins, and mycotoxins, mold. So 3, it's all a urine analysis. So it'll tell me also if there's some really big, there it is, like bingos with you, with all of those toxic loads. And then the next one I really like is going to be an organic acid test, and that's a urine analysis.
That's so good.
And O test is going to give me a bit on metabolics, some underlying issues also of toxicity load. It can give me some nutrient load issues. It can give me signs of other candida fungal or signs of C. diff or Clostridia bacteria or other candida. So, when you're doing tests, I always like to say get blood, get stool, and get urine, and try to get them at the same time if you can, because now it gives me a window around, and any good integrative practitioner is going to be able to take that with their own experience and skill set and put together a better pathway of what's happening and why. I like a lot of times I can wait a little bit to do labs while I work on their foundation, because the foundation is obvious. And I've done so many of these lab tests. I've done hundreds of them. A lot of times I already know what I want to do about it in a safe way. So if I can get you on N-acetylcysteine for 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, if I can get you on a little bit of a binder or a probiotic, if I can get rid of the seed oil, if I can get rid of the alcohol, if I can get rid of the sugars, if I can have you have more home cooked meals, I can get you to sleep at the right time, I can do some nervous system regulation. For about 3 or 4 weeks, I find a lot of times we can just use your money better.
I love it.
By setting some foundations up first.
Those are such great hot tips. And I think, all the takeaways that we talked about today are like all golden nuggets.
We're hitting every field here.
I love that so much. But as we wrap up the show today, I really want to know, I kind of feel like I know what it is, but what's your everyday non-negotiable?
Feeling good. I have to have something that makes me feel good every day, or I'll lose control.
What's your feel good right now?
My home.
Ooh.
I am huge. We could do a whole thing on this, but I am
I would
massively big on creating a healing home.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to come on your show and we'll have this whole conversation about the healing home. Trust me, I have a whole story, a whole slew of things.
I want to leave you guys with this one thought is the number one place I invest my dollars is into my home. It's not even close. Car, vacations, it's not even close. I put so much into my home. Remediations, the flow, the energy of it, anti-EMF. I have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I have a sauna. I have an ozonated hot tub. Getting an RO machine on the house. Like there's so many levels to this because I go to hotels and I'm like, they probably have mold here. I'm paying $400, $700 a night.
You're like, how can I close up this AC vent right now?
Create your healing home, get the food, get great food in your home, feed your kids great stuff, get rid of the EMF, get rid of the mold, get natural sunlight in there, let those natural light therapy get in the house, open the doors, get rid of carpets, invest. Like it took years for me to say, okay, I'm going to spend that money, real money for these saunas and HBOT and stuff.
Well, what about people that are renting? What is one easy toxic-free habit that they can all take away today regarding the home?
I would say, I'm a big fan of a good quality air filter, like get a good one, like Air Doctor can be good or...
We've got one in every room in our house.
Yeah. There's a lot. Everyone has debates on what's a good filter, but if you just start getting one, I think that's a really good one. I would say, the big thing if I'm renting is just make sure there's no mold in your house. Like buy a book on mold, make sure anything where there's water, any sinks, anywhere, any toilets, try to rent a house that doesn't have carpet. Like really work on minimizing carpet and try to rent a place that has any outdoor area. Like one of my non-negotiables when I rented is I have to have an outdoor area. Like I have to have some kind of patio, and I'm always looking for wooden floors. I'll pay more if I can get those things because money is actually the cheapest of all energies. You have time, you have energy, and you have money. And money is actually the easiest one to use because you can always make more of it, but you don't have time and energy. Those are actually your most valuable. The older you get, the more you've made money, the more you realize time and energy is what I need. And you fill up that time and energy at your house. Investing in your home, in my opinion, is the number one investment a person should make.
Bravo, my friend. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, we could go on and on and on. Like we're gonna have to like do a continuation.
A Joe Rogan podcast here. But
yeah. It's like KB is the new Joe Rogan. Yeah. Except we're not standing up. We need to like stand up. Thank you so much for being here. Where can everyone find out more about you, your protocols, all the things? Because this is like I have some people I need to like turn on to you, like especially a girl that started working for me. She was diagnosed with Crohn's colitis at 7.
We believe we can help her. I just did a testimony with a girl the other day who was diagnosed at 6. She's 30 years old. She's never been this healthy, and she's symptom-free. And she's been with us for 8 months.
I'll send her your way.
Shout out to Raya doing that. I just also want to, I know we went over a lot of topics, guys. I want to apologize if I wasn't able to tie up every topic today when, the microbiome and the food philosophy.
There's so much. It's so dense.
Yeah.
It's so dense.
I want to give and I want to empower you, and I hope you got some aha out of it. You can find me on the internet, Dane Johnson, Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Happy healing.
All right, y'all. Now it's time for hot habits. My hot habit, I love this one because it's new and it's actually been working pretty good for me. It's homeopathy. Okay, before you're like, KB, what? Homeopathy. Homeopathy is a complementary and alternative medicine system that's based on the principle of like cures like. It uses highly diluted substances to stimulate the body's natural healing abilities. I love this so much, y'all. This means that a substance that causes certain symptoms in a healthy person is used in a diluted form to treat similar symptoms in someone who is ill. Okay. So I've been trying one for anxiety, and guys, let me tell you, I'm feeling pretty cool as a cucumber at the end of the day. So make sure you don't just kind of throw pills your way. Make sure you work with a master or a trained homeopath. And next, moving on to my trendy trends. Okay, this one is dense, but it's methylene blue. You're like, what is that, a dye? Yeah, sort of similar. But methylene blue is used to treat, okay, bear with me, methemoglobulinemia. I did not say that right. You're going to have to look it up. I'll put it in the show notes. But this is by chemically reducing the ferric iron in hemoglobin to ferrous iron, right? So methemoglobinemia, again, said it not right, can be due to certain medications, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, or foods, even like broad beans, or it can even be inherited. So the diagnosis is often suspected based on symptoms and low blood oxygen that does not improve with oxygen therapy. So hence calling in the use of methylene blue. So sometimes people, I'm not going to like promote this, but if they had a night out and they were drinking too much, they'll bring in the methylene blue because they had a toxic substance in their body. So as always, consult your personal care team before trying this one out. Let me know your trendy trends. I'm always interested in hearing what's coming around the block.
Thanks for watching Toxic-Free with KB. Please subscribe to the show, comment below, and check us out on Instagram at toxicfree.kb and TikTok at toxicfree with KB. See you next time.
This is a Kilo Bravo Media production.